This is the Barbados Today morning news for Monday, July 10. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. Tributes have been pouring in for the late Director of Public Prosecution, Charles Leacock. He passed away on Saturday night in the United States following surgery. President of the Bar Association, Liesl Weeks, says his passing was a great loss to the legal profession.
The profession is losing one of its more senior and eminent practitioners. He has been a servant of the people as DPP for over 20 years. I'm certain he will be missed in the profession, in his department, and our prayers and thoughts go out to his family in their time of loss.
Leacock leaves to mourn his wife Betty June and 2 children. In other news this morning, opposition leader Mia Mottley has launched another appeal to the government to take heed of the union's concerns over the potential impact of the austerity measures announced in this year's budget. Mottley's call comes ahead of a planned march organized by the unions from Queen's Park to Parliament tomorrow. Following a walkthrough in the constituency of St. James South on the weekend, the opposition leader told reporters that the Frundle-Stewart administration has set itself what she called an impossible goal of seeking to raise $500 million in revenue through new taxes.
Barbadians do not have the luxury of dealing with what the Minister of Finance wants as an idle boast of a balanced budget, because, as I said, it is still not a balanced budget, because he's not taking into account the arrears that he owes. He's not taking into account the damages that they will have to pay out in lawsuits. And therefore, if you have to do and take a little less in order to allow people to see tomorrow, to see next week, to see next year, to be able to provide for their families, to ensure that they don't fall through the cracks, then we need to pause and do it. And that is why what the unions, and you now have 4 of the largest unions in this country taking action, unprecedented action, and saying, look, they're not asking to go for industrial action on the road, they're asking for dialogue.
Mottley also called for the broadening of the social partnership to address the current challenges facing the country.
The next few years in Barbados will be difficult. And more than anything else, we need to set a precedent for national governance. And that this social partnership, which was formed at our last moment of great crisis in the early 1990s, needs now to be broadened and deepened. That we need, as I've said before in the last address to the Chamber of Commerce, we need to bring in civil society representation in there. And we need to bring in the opposition parties. Because Barbados needs a place where national governance can be conducted. I'm not talking about the role of Parliament or the role of Cabinet. I'm talking about a place where everyone who represents the sectoral interests and stakeholders' interests in this country can come in one place and let us discuss.
And trade unions are taking St. James South MP Don Villinis to task for dismissing the planned march on Tuesday as a walk to burn calories. Innes made the comment on the sidelines of the BLP's walkthrough of his constituency on Saturday. A statement from the major unions accused him of mocking workers against the backdrop of the recent pay restoration to MPs. They added that Innes's comments were unfortunate and reflect a level of callousness, arrogance and insensitivity that has too often been observed in the behavior of some members of government. Meanwhile, Innes maintains that Tuesday's march is not necessary for the unions to get their point across to the government.
A march or a walk by union leaders from Queen's Park to Parliament in an aim to lose some weight or to burn calories it's not absolutely necessary for the government to hear the views of the union. The unions and the government have been in dialogue as far as I know. I sit on the subcommittee of social partnership that includes the union members, the private sector and the government, tripartite arrangement. And at such meetings, the government has always been very honest, forthcoming with information about the state economy and some of the measures that they may consider. So I don't know what will be contained in a letter that the unions will deliver to Parliament on Tuesday, but I would say that a march to Parliament is not absolutely necessary for the unions to get their message over.
Sports now. Both the West Indies men and women's team broke their losing streak on the weekend. The men scored a 9-wicket win over India in the one-off T20 International at Sabina Park on Sunday, thanks to Evan Lewis's century. Lewis slammed an unbeaten 125 to take the Caribbean side to 194 for 1 with 9 balls to spare in reply to the tourists' 190 for 6. He hit 12 sixes and 6 fours off 62 deliveries. It was the first T20 International 100 scored by a West Indian player in the Caribbean, and he now ranks alongside fellow West Indian Chris Gayle and New Zealand's Brendan McCullum as the only players to have scored more than 100 in an international T20. And the Windies women recorded their first victory in the ICC Women's World Cup by 47 runs against Sri Lanka women in England. They scored 229 for 9 off 50 overs and restricted their opponents to 182 off 48 overs. Veteran Marissa Aguilera top-scored with an unbeaten 46, while Deandra Doughton made 38 and Kaishona Knight and Hayley Matthews each scored 26. Anisa Mohammed took 3 for 39 from her 10 overs to earn the Player of the Match award. Left-arm spinner Chanel Daly supported with 2 for 30 from 7 overs. After the match, Captain Stephanie Taylor said Sunday's win was a major confidence boost ahead of their meeting against Pakistan in Leicester tomorrow.
We've been fighting really hard to win a game, so we know it's just 3 more games to go with us winning this one, so it's 2 more. So we know how important these games are. We definitely want to win, go home on a high. So, going into Tuesday's game, we know it's not going to be easy because Pakistan haven't won a game, and yeah, so today's game would have, boosted us going into that game. They're gonna come with their spinners. I think that's what they mostly do to all the teams. So we saw a bit of that today. So we hope that we should counteract, counteract their bowlers.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Good morning, Phillips and Company, may I help? Oh, certainly. One moment, please. Miss Phillips?
Yeah?
There's a lady on the line from the Nation newspaper who would like to speak with you.
The Nation? Will she go on?
Well, they're trying to sell us some ads.
Look, don't make me laugh this morning. Ads in the Nation? They're real expensive, and for what here, nobody ain't buying them papers no more. Nobody ain't want to steal news. I hear reading Barbados Today online for free. So I tell she thanks for calling, but no thanks. We just advertising Barbados Today, families. Tell she is Barbados Today all the way.
Okay, I'll pass on the message. Mom, are you still there? Oh, she put down.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back now with news from the region. Inmates were evacuated from Guyana's Camp Street prison last night after fire broke out at the penal institution. According to media reports from Georgetown, the incident occurred after prisoners stormed the prison officers' recreation center and set it alight. They also ambushed female guards and seized their weapons. A prison officer was taken to hospital for treatment after being shot. Large amounts of smoke were seen coming from the compound and gunshots were heard coming from the inside. In March last year, 17 inmates died at the Camp Street prison in a fire set by prisoners. A commission of inquiry made recommendations to avoid a recurrence. And finally, on the international scene, Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi has visited Mosul to congratulate Iraqi forces for their victory over ISIS in the city. A statement from his office said Abadi was there to announce the city's full liberation. Iraqi forces, backed by US-led airstrikes, have been battling to retake Mosul since October last year. ISIS militants seized the city in June 2014 before taking much of Iraq's Sunni Arab heartland and proclaiming a caliphate straddling Iraq and Syria. Kurdish fighters, Sunni Arab tribesmen, and Shia militiamen have also been involved in the battle. That's news this morning. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also tune in to Mix 96.9 FM for more news and sports. I am Marie Claire Williams. Have a good morning.